Welcome to the Woman-H.O.O.D podcast. My first guest is the none other Dr. Prandhara, also known as Renee. That's her real name. But I am super excited about this podcast. I'm so excited about my interview with her because I have learned so much from her. Okay, like I learned a lot about myself as a woman. I learned so much about myself and my body and my sexuality from her. She's a Tantra therapist. And for those of you who don't know what it is, you're about to learn right now. You are going to walk away, or you should be walking away feeling a lot more confident about yourself as a lady. And also being a woman who's proud of who she is, both physically and sexually. There's a lot of tips she gives us as women as we try to reach. I certain things I can't say on YouTube because they're gonna just ban me, but throw me up out of here. But I do have an exclusive interview with her that is on my Patreon page. So make sure you subscribe to the Patreon so you can get the tips and tricks that my goddess Prandhara talks about on the Patreon page. But for this interview right here, she still gives amazing tips and tricks for us to reach and really owning who we are as women, sexually, physically, and emotionally. I learned a lot from our interview, and I know that you're going to walk away with a lot. So welcome to the hood, Prandhara. Hi, Yonis. Welcome to the Womanhood-H.O.O.D podcast. I am here today with Prandhara, tantric therapist. I'm going to tell you, I love her. Okay, I love her. I'm so excited to premiere. Yay! The Womanhood-H.O.O.D podcast because Womanhood is ghetto, but there's so much goodness that we have in our hoods, right?
Yes.
Yes, and we have a ton to talk about today. I'm so excited. I'm super thrilled that you're here with me today.
Thank you. I'm so excited as well. I'm so excited to be here. And I am thrilled as well.
Yeah, she's so good. I love jumping on your lives because you touch different topics all the time about not just balancing and wellness, which we all need, obviously, but just even relationship topics. And I was ratcheting on your live one day. I was like, well, I don't control myself when I'm talking.
Love it. I love it.
But she's very raw. She's very honest and super helpful. So welcome to the Womanhood-H.O.O.D podcast.
Yes, I'm excited to be here at Woman is Ghetto Hood.
Womanhood is ghetto.
A woman.
Because it's ghetto.
Oh, thank you. I'm excited to be here at Womanhood is Ghetto. Because womanhood is ghetto fabulous.
It is ghetto fabulous. Yes. It really is. And welcome to the hood. So,
yes.
One of the biggest topics I get, because I sell Yoni Steams, right?
Yes.
And I had a woman DM me. She was like, she went through a hard breakup and she feels like she cannot let go of this dude. And I said, then we need to get him out of your system.
Yes.
Right? And I'm like, you need to Yoni Steam, but you need to focus. I said, if you're going to do this, promise me you're not going to go back.
Right.
Because
that's the thing, right? They'll do all this work, go back, and it's a waste.
A complete waste. Completely. Girl, you did all that for what?
Right.
And so when Yoni Steaming, I always say repeat affirmation, believe in the affirmations, and take time to yourself. I even say unplug, don't be on your phone. You can listen to music, but that's literally the time for yourself to just release, let yourself open yourself to be revealed to truth that you may have been ignoring, but most importantly, healing.
Yes.
So sometimes Yoni Steaming also for women who want to have children, like I said, you have to get yourself into the mind frame of this can happen.
Yes.
You don't just sit on the pot, sit on your phone. You are literally releasing fears, believing that your body can do something that you wanted to do, and accepting where you are.
Yes.
So a big thing is doing the work, because sometimes Yoni Steaming ain't enough.
Right.
It's not enough.
Right.
And before we get into the tantric stuff, because I know that's what y'all want to know. Before we get into all that, let's talk about healing. What is the work?
So, it's so funny that you're bringing this up, because I've literally been thinking about this. And I was like, I did also just kind of do a little live on this, right? But I've been thinking about this more in terms of our bodies having the ability to self-heal. And I'm going to go into an example, right? About a year ago, I tore my rotator cuff. my right rotator cuff,
Uh-huh.
right? And it was a pretty big tear where the orthopedic said, you need to have surgery.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, no, I'm not going to have surgery. 3 months after that, I tore the left rotator cuff, right? Because your body is overcompensating.
Okay.
Right? And so I tore both of my rotator cuffs. The orthopedist was like, yeah, we really need to do surgery. And I was like, well, how does the surgery look? And so he was just like, we'll do the surgery and then it'll take like a year, 8 months to a year to repair itself. And I was like, well, if I'm going to be out 8 months a year, let me try this on my own.
Right. Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm not spending all of this money to have surgery and then something else could go wrong.
Yeah.
Who knows? So I started doing physical therapy, started doing water aerobics, right?
Okay, yeah.
Water aerobics, going into the water and doing like the weights in the water because I couldn't do it outside of the water. I couldn't even lift past this. So now a year later, I can do this without having to do surgery.
Oh, wow.
I literally couldn't go past here. It was like hurting. I was like,
because it's on both sides.
Both sides.
Wow.
Right? First it was this one. So I started doing that. I started going into jacuzzis every chance I got. Going into the sauna. I joined the gym and that I made sure I had a sauna because the heat is good. My dear niece, she's amazing. She bought me a heating pad. Okay. So she's like, here, Auntie, you're always taking care of me. Let me do this for you. So her name is Dominique. If you play this. Hey, Dominique. You're right. If she's watching. And she gave me a heating pad. And so I would do that in between ice. And so I was caring for myself. And then one of the things that you talked about, I was doing self-affirmations. I was trusting and knowing that I can help myself. I can heal myself. Right? So that's the work. Yeah. And it's not easy. It's not hard. Yeah. Right? And most recently, y'all, listen. Our ancestors, whether you believe in that or not, and if you don't, let's say God, because both hand in hand, right? Right. God, the ancestors will tell you what you need to do. So I just finished watching Jamie Foxx, What Had Happened Was, right? Yes. Really good, in my opinion. Really good. Now, one of the things that he said was, God gave him this stroke, had him have this stroke because he left. He wasn't giving back to God. He wasn't recognizing God. He got so high in his success, he was partying, he was doing all of this stuff, and he forgot about God. Because when he started, he was in a choir. He sang in a choir, he played in a choir, right? Similar, and I bring this up to say, similar with me, I started having these health issues, right? Wow. So I started having these health issues. And I'll tell you what, a big part of it was in my womb space. And I'm like, but I work with the womb. Right? Right? Right. And so I'm like, what is going on? Why is this happening to me? And a friend of mine, she works with ancestral veneration. She sent me a message and she was like, yo, Prandhara, your ancestors are telling you, you need to come home. You need to make sure you're honoring them. And I've had an ancestor altar for some time. Yeah. But I've been playing. Right? Yeah. I've been playing. Yeah. I haven't been giving to them like I'm supposed to. I haven't been honoring them like they want. Let me take out supposed to. Let me say how they want me to. Right? And so it was so funny because she said, they're bringing illness to you, but you're not ill. You're okay. But they want you to come home. They want you to honor them and do your work. And I said, I received this. Yeah. Because she was telling me what I already knew. Yeah. Right?
We usually always know.
We always know. And so one of the things, even before this happened, I had been slipping. I hadn't been doing my yoni breathing. Yeah. Or my ovarian breathing in a long time.
And we'll show you how to do that.
Nor have I been doing my yoni steaming, right?
Right, yeah.
But even before all of this happened, I had been saying, I need to do yoni steaming. I need to get back into it. I need to do my yoni breathing. Right? And I can do it myself. I called another friend. I was like, hey, can you lead me through some yoni breathing? And then I'm like, why am I asking her to lead me through it? I can lead myself. And I actually have some audios
Yeah.
that other people, that I sell on my website.
Yeah.
I'm like, I could just listen to my own audio.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Right. So all of this stuff had already been coming for me to do.
Yeah.
And I hadn't been doing it. Right? Just being busy, doing all kinds of stuff. Life been lifing. Right. Life been lifing. And so I hadn't been putting food on my ancestor altars. I haven't been lighting the candle. I haven't been doing what I was supposed to be doing. And when my friend sent me that message, it was a wake-up call. And before she sent me that message, I was in tears. I was in crisis mode. My gynecologist was like, you might need to have surgery. I'm like, I'm not having no surgery. Like, what? Again. So I'm going back. And I said, I know I can heal myself. I've done it several times before.
Yeah.
And not even just with the shoulders, with other examples.
Yeah.
And I know that I don't have to have surgery. The Western doctors, and I'm not telling anyone, if your doctor tells you to have surgery, you do what you feel like you need to do.
Right.
Because not everybody's going to do the same amount of work.
Yeah.
Right?
It's work. I always say, if you go the natural route, commit to the work and you see results.
And you have to commit. Mm-hmm. And so I say that to say, that's where I'm at now. I started connected with my ancestors again. They want me to put them first in everything that I do. I've been doing ceremonies and just playing again, but my ancestors want me to put them first.
Yeah.
Right? And so this is what I started doing. Doing my Yoni steam, doing my cleansing, doing my Yoni breathing, my ovarian breathing, all of that.
Yeah.
And it takes that commitment, settling. I did my Yoni steam the other day, and I had my music going on, meditating, doing my G.H.E.T.T.O ceremonies, setting my intentions, doing the affirmations, and doing the work. And it's not doing the work, once a week. It's every day.
Yeah.
Being mindful. What is it that I need? I want to heal myself. Well, I have these tools. I have people that have Yoni steam, people that have different things.
Yeah.
And so oftentimes so many people want a quick fix.
Yeah.
They want to come to us and say, fix me.
Yeah.
But they don't want to do the work.
Yeah.
So we can lead a horse to water, but we can't make them drink.
We cannot.
So we can give the tools, we can give the techniques, we can give the products.
Right.
But they have to make sure that they're using the products, they're using the tools, and they're doing what they need to do faithfully, consistently.
And the consistency, and I understand that things happen that may bump you off about a week or two. Mm-hmm. But when you see months go by, you cannot expect it to just magically everything works out. So timing wise, I remember I was a freshman in college. This boy dumped me. A loser. Anyway,
capital L.
Capital L, hard R. So I remember my mom was like, I was so upset, and I was just like, because he was so shady how he did it. Yeah. Because there was a show called, what was the show called? I think Break Up or Get Back Together, whatever, it was back in the day. And he's like, let's play this game. And then he said, and I was like, we should stay together. He said, no, we should break up, and hung up the phone on me. I was absolutely livid. I was so heartbroken. And my mother, she said to me, this feels like this today. If you know you're not going to go back, you know that this is not your person and you're going to be okay. She goes, you just have to know that nothing's going to feel like today.
Right.
Today, tomorrow, the day after, 1 week from now, 1 month from now, then 3 months. And then it's not going to feel like today.
Exactly.
Like a breakdown can happen. Being upset can happen. Heartbreaks happen. Yeah. Nothing will feel like today.
Yes.
She said, now, to get over him, get over this relationship, get over this breakup. I can't remember, we're together for 6 months. But, you can't tell an 18-year-old nothing because it's the end of the world then. Right. If it was now, I'd be like, anyways, next. Right. But she just would say that, commit to healing. We come from
wise mother.
Haitian ancestry.
Yes.
So she's just like telling me, she's like, commit to it. She's like, and I'm like, so emotional, and I'm just pissed off. And she's like, commit to it. Know that you're going to get over this. Not through it, like sort of, but you're going to get over it. You'll get through it. You're going to be a different person. Nothing's going to feel like today. If you decide, I'm going to get over this.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in the back of your mind, I want to be angry, then you're going to stay angry.
Yes.
If you decide in your mind, I can't get pregnant, then you won't get pregnant. If you decide in your mind, I'm going to be poor, you're going to stay poor.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's literally, it starts here, but it takes time. Nothing is like day one, a week later, 2 months later, and it is a process. You find people who heal, they always say, I spent time with myself.
Yes.
I spent time with this. I had to get to know myself, because they decided on that particular day, I'm not going to feel like this ever again. Or maybe not ever again, but I'm not going to feel this with this situation, with this person or whatever, is not going to feel like today. And then they decided to move on. And it helps.
It does. And that's the thing, you touched on time alone, resting. Yeah. And resting. That's important, because so many times we're doing so many different things, 50 million things as an escape. Yeah. And so when you're with yourself and you're reconnecting to your body and you're resting, your body heals a lot during rest. Yeah. And so people sleep on that. People feel guilty for resting.
It's our society, because you're not doing anything and resting. What does Steve Harvey say? If you rest when you die, I'm like, you could die faster if you don't rest.
Exactly.
Come on.
Exactly. And so, so that's exactly what it is making that commitment. Yeah. And, like they say with Alcoholics Anonymous or Narcotics Anonymous, day by day. Yeah. So you make that commitment. And maybe every morning you wake up and you say, I'm committing myself to healing. Yeah. And you do that for that day. And then that night you say, thank you for the commitment you made to healing today. Yeah. I'm so proud of you. You did a great job. You go to sleep. You wake up in the morning. I set this intention to work on my healing again today. Yeah.
And that's a really good point. I had someone, it was a young person, that was just like, you really talk to yourself in the mirror. Excuse me, Gen Z. You really talk to yourself in the mirror. I'm messing with y'all. But I was like, that's because you're looking at yourself. You look at yourself dead in the eye and said, you did good. Just imagine, you will feel it. I swear you'll feel it. Because I think for some people, they walk by mirror, they avoid eye contact, they avoid even their reflection. Yes. Or if you're doing your makeup, you always focus on what you're putting your makeup on. Right. But imagine looking yourself in the eye and said, you did good today. That's the work.
That is the work.
That is the work.
And so I know, like, for myself, right? I'm a Virgo. Virgos are critical. Yeah. We're so hard on ourselves. So I don't know if any of you are like that. You don't have to be a Virgo, but people can be critical of themselves, right? Or hard on themselves. So part of the work is also being gentle on yourself. Yeah. Right? Saying, okay, this happened, but it's in my control now to not allow that to happen again. Yes. This illness happened, but I realized why. Right? Because disease oftentimes is from emotional stuff going on, mental stuff going on, stress. Yeah. Not taking care of ourselves. Yeah. Not doing what we're supposed to. Not honoring God, not honoring our ancestors. Yeah. Not trusting in the universe. Yeah. Not listening. Yeah. And so when we start to do that and we say, you know what, it's okay. I didn't. But now I can. I have a choice now. And I can listen. Yeah. I can honor. Yeah. And I can honor myself as well.
Yeah. You're like the Tantra queen. Queen. I learned about Tantra like a few years ago and really understood it, because I didn't quite get it when I first heard it. I was like, what is it? Is it just like sexual meditation? Like, what is it? Yeah. So explain to the audience what that is.
All right. Well, thank you.
Queen. She's queen.
And I'm glad you asked, because I haven't been talking so much about Tantra recently, because I had been talking more about G.H.E.T.T.O and cacao. Yeah. And so one of the things, a lot of people have been coming to me now that I'm here in Atlanta, right? Oh, we're looking for someone who works with Tantra. And I'm like, it's saying that I need to start talking about this more,
Yes,
right?
yes.
And educating people on what Tantra is. And I've had several different people ask me, what is Tantra? Is Tantra the same as Kama Sutra? You know, what is it that you do with this? So
Yeah.
thank you for asking. So Tantra is complicated, but it's not. So basically, Tantra is a spirituality, right?
Mm-hmm.
That comes from ancient India. Now, I do that because it comes from India, right? But Tantra itself, in terms of working with the sexual energy, was around in Africa, right?
Yeah.
You have many different, and even in Haiti and different places, it just didn't have the name. So Tantra, as we use it with the name Tantra, comes from India. But we've been working with this energy from time immemorial.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's a practice, it's a way of life to reach enlightenment.
Mm-hmm.
It helps you to become present in the moment and be grounded, right? We use sexual energy to attain this enlightenment. So many other religions will say sex is a sin. You're going to hell if you have sex. It's only for procreation. Whereas Tantra is like, no, sex is not a sin.
Yeah.
Right? Now, Tantra focuses 5% on the sex piece, right? There's a whole nother 95%, right? But in our we're in a Western. In our Western world, we focus on the sex.
Yes.
Right? So
Right.
everybody's like, sex, 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 sex. And so with Tantra, we use sexual energy to help us reach that enlightenment.
Yeah.
And what is enlightenment?
Yeah.
It's a consciousness. It's expansion.
Mm-hmm.
So ultimately, Tantra is about expansion. It also means a weave of connection. Now, if you look at Tantra, there's actually several different meanings.
Yeah.
You can find several different meanings, right? But we're going to say connection. Everything is connected. It talks about that. A weave of connections, expansion.
Yeah.
And it's a way of life, a practice of spirituality.
Mm-hmm.
And we use several different ways to reach that expansion, to reach that freedom, to learn how to have better relationships with ourselves, with our partners, with our friends, with our family.
Yeah.
Right? So Tantra has those many goals of improving relationships, improving intimacy, connection.
Yeah.
With yourself, with others, and helping you to be more expansive.
Yeah.
Free. More conscious, more present. So we use tantric meditation, tantric massage, tantric breath work, right? There's Kundalini yoga, there's Tantra yoga, several different things. And so the sexual energy, we could also call Kundalini energy. This is the energy that rises up along our chakras, through our bodies. This sexual energy is our vital life force energy. It helps us to create the life that we want.
Yeah.
It helps us to manifest what we want to manifest in our life. It helps us to heal. It helps us to become more spiritually grounded and sound.
Yeah.
It helps us with everything.
Yeah.
It helps us to have abundance.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's
not just one thing.
It's not just one thing. And that's why I say it's complicated, but it's not.
Right.
Right? So, we can do solo tantra or we could do couples tantra. We could do threesome tantra with 3 different people, group tantra. There's so many different ways. Because I have people ask me all the time, can I do tantra or practice tantra if I don't have a partner? Yes. So tantra really is an individual experience.
Right.
It's individual for you to connect to yourself. Everything that you would do with a partner, you could do for yourself.
Yeah.
The eye gazing, looking in the mirror to connect with yourself.
Yeah.
The eyes are the seat of the soul. So that's one of the biggest tantric practices is the eye gazing. Breath work. You can do that with a partner.
Yeah.
Or you can do it yourself.
Yeah.
Breathing. Yes.
So you teach that?
Yes, I teach tantra.
You also like you teach that, and you have courses too.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'll make sure I put her information down there. So you can stop DMing me because I don't have all the answers. But I will absolutely put your information down there because I know the breath work, and we went over that before, really helps people connect with the different chakras.
Yes.
And I guess when it comes to like Tantra, I guess I used to think it was solely for just an expansion of sexuality to open yourself up for sexual, particularly for women who've had any type of sexual trauma. And sometimes sexual trauma can just be, sometimes it's assault, sometimes it's people with bad periods, and like you're crampy, and then so you're distant from your vaginal area, and that causes trauma. So I thought Tantra, which I'm sure it does, was for healing that and opening yourself up more.
Yeah, so I've had a lot of clients. So I do tantric massage as well. And so I've had a lot of clients. So first of all, let me just take a step back. Trauma, just being born is a trauma. No, it really is, right? You know, you were safe in your mother's womb, wrapped up in this water. It was nice and warm.
Yep.
And then especially how they do birth in this Western society, right?
Yeah.
It's traumatic.
Got a woman screaming, or someone's cutting open, there's blood everywhere. Oh,
right.
Lord.
In this cold environment.
Yeah.
They're coming out. Nobody's like, they're hitting you on your back. They're hitting you in your bottom. You know, and you're like, what's going on?
Right.
Why am I not in this warm, safe space anymore?
Right.
Then they cut the umbilical cord. You go through pain. Like,
no. That's right.
Right?
It's so true. I didn't even think of it that way. I was even thinking about the mother. I mean, I'm in pain, but then that it's traumatic. Like, you was minding your own business. I think the doctor, when I gave birth, said my daughter tried to go back in.
She was like, I ain't ready to come out into this world.
Right? Like,
I was comfortable in here.
Right? What is it? She's still like that. Like, I come when I'm ready.
Right.
So.
Love it. So, so that's a trauma.
Yeah.
We also hold on to trauma from past generations, right? Our bodies have cellular memory.
Yeah.
So we hold on to the trauma from our parents, our grandparents, our great-grandparents. And so Tantra is also about helping us release that trauma through the shaking, through the breath work.
Yeah.
Because the breath work and the meditations does help to align each of the chakras, balance the chakras, but also releasing those traumas that's in the body. Yeah. Tantric massage does that as well. So I've had several clients that come to me that have vaginismus, painful sex, was sexually assaulted.
Right.
And so through the tantric massage and connecting, they begin to release those traumas and they feel better. Then they can have sex. They no longer have painful sex.
Yeah.
Right. And then with men, I've had men come to me who has erectile dysfunction, premature ejaculation, work through all of that stuff.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Helps with that.
Yes, Tantra helps with that as well.
I don't give men enough credit because I just feel like y'all don't have periods, you don't give birth, you don't have headaches. I'm like this. What you need Tantra for? But it makes sense because I imagine how a man would feel if he feels like he can't be the sexual man he wants to be to his woman, so that makes him feel less than a man. Right. So that makes a lot of sense for them to really consider doing some Tantra work. Right. Yeah.
And not even just that, but learning how to connect with a woman.
Yeah.
Right? So as men, how do men learn? Through porn, through their guys saying, do this. Yeah. And most of that stuff is not real. Right. Through movies, right? Yeah. And so, Tantra teaches couples how to have true intimate connections. Yeah. Through the eye gazing, the breathing together, different rituals, yabi yum. Yeah. Many different things. Yeah. So, so there's so many different reasons for men and women to learn Tantra.
Okay.
Right. And so, again, remembering the tantric sex is 5%.
Yeah.
Right. And so oftentimes we think about, okay, how can I be a better lover? How can I give my partner more orgasms? How can I have more orgasms? Yeah. And that's beautiful.
Right.
But we can also, value, how can I have a deep connection with my partner? Yeah. How can I have a deep connection with myself?
Yeah. I'm going to try this with you over there. Because I feel like sometimes men get so excited and they don't have the patience to do like the eye work. Yeah. It's like, well, how long are we going to do this? I'm like, till we feel connected.
That's not the way to do it, by the way. Not through pressure and stress or anger.
Don't listen to me. Because I'll be like, look me in the eye. Are we connected? We're right here. And he's like, how long are we going to, how long you want me to stare at you?
We are. Just let's end it.
I'm naked. I'm horny. Now you want me to stare at you? I was like, So how does that work? Like, do you
Y'all-
stay in advance? Do you
y'all-
plan that type of stuff out, or is it just in the moment?
So it is good to plan it, because sometimes, especially with Tantra
Yeah.
exercises, you can do in the moment, but it's a little intricate, right?
Yeah.
So it's better to plan and know when you're going to have a few hours. You don't have to do for a few hours, right? But my first tantric partner, or I would say second, we lived together, and so this was in Brazil. We would have tantric sessions that was like 8 hours long, and then we starving, and we're like, why are we so hungry? And by the time we stop, we're like, oh my God, it's been 8 hours. No wonder we hungry.
Like, that's what's up, though.
A tantric fast. Tantric fasts are the best, by the way. So, so it really all depends on your time.
Yeah.
And what you have going on. So you can plan out and plan a whole day, where you can take a day and you start with the eye gazing, doing the breathing together, the Yabayun position, doing a tantric massage, and then going into tantric penetrative sex, or you could just be like, okay, before we have sex like normal, let's just breathe together, or let's do some eye gazing together, or it's probably harder for it to just naturally come into that way, depending on the couple.
Yeah.
Some couples, it just naturally happens.
Yeah.
Right? Some couples just naturally start eye gazing. Like, you've ever been out and you see a couple just hugging, and they're hugging what feels like an hour?
Yeah.
And you might even start feeling uncomfortable.
It's like, fuck you hugging so long.
Right,
making
like,
me uncomfortable.
Go get a room.
Right.
Well, that was me before Tantra. I would get so uncomfortable. I'm like, now I'm the person who's like, hugging for like a whole hour long, right? So, but yeah, so there's some couples who are naturally just flow into the eye gazing and the holding, because Tantra is like, all the foreplay is sex.
Yeah.
Right? So it's not just the actual penetration that's sex.
Mm-hmm.
Like, everything leading up to it is sex.
Yeah.
And, for women, it takes us at least 20 minutes to get warmed up and ready. A man is quick.
Yeah.
He just think about sex and he hard.
Right.
Right.
I'll be ready to go.
Ready to go. So, so everything is like, just connecting to her body, feeling her body.
Yeah.
One of my friends, he's tantric too. We were together just chilling, and he's like just rubbing on my knee. Next thing you know, I'm having full body orgasms. For real. And it's like, because we were present.
Right.
And we were connected to what we were feeling and with each other.
Yeah.
And so our entire body is orgasmic, right?
Right.
You could have an orgasm from somebody rubbing on your knees.
Yeah, that's true. Or listen to
Or
that
the
feels
head,
good.
Yeah.
Like, I think I was telling you one time, I was like, it's like, if I touch myself, like, this feels nice. So it's just like, somebody else does that.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, something that feels nice. And if I know it feels nice on me, it probably feels good on my partner.
Exactly.
So, okay, yeah.
Yep, exactly. That's it.
Well, speaking of orgasms. Orgasms, I know that for me, it's a buildup. And it's like, I have to get to like a place, or used to have to get to a place for me to like explode. It's like, I would concentrate so much on, I will orgasm today.
Right.
I'd wake in the morning tonight, I'm having sex, and I'm going to orgasm. I'm blow his mind out, and I'm going to bust a nut. Right? and it's like, I remember you said, he says, you have to get out of your head.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I'm like, I have to come, and I can't get out of my head. And of course it doesn't happen.
Right.
And I'm just like, okay, I failed today. But getting out of my head. But I do think the foreplay has changed the game.
Yeah.
Changed the game to the point where I orgasm almost every time.
Right.
You know
Yes,
what I mean?
I love it.
Because then it's just like, I get into the mood, and I'm talking to my partner. It's like, this is what I like. This is what you like. And then we go slowly, and it's like touching each other, different places in the foreplay. And even if it's like, a quickie.
Yeah.
Like, and I can also, because sometimes I'm like, if it's a quickie, I'm not going to come. I need about, I need that 10 to 15, 20 minutes to warm up. And so if that's all we got, then the warm up is out of the door.
Right, it's out of the question.
Right. And so why does my brain have to go to like an extreme place in order to like come?
Right.
And sometimes I'd fantasize about some wild stuff that I'll talk about on a private page. But in order to get to orgasming. Mm-hmm. But then it was just like, no, when I, like the foreplay, it made a world of a difference. Mm-hmm. It made a world of a difference in just the touching, the massaging, yes. Looking in each other's eyes, because then I had to get out of my head.
Yes, exactly. And that's not foreplay again. So that's, we call it foreplay. But right. That's sex.
That is sex.
That is sex.
Yeah, that is sex. And so with Tantra, mm-hmm. That's the warm-up. Right?
That's sex.
Well, you just said that, right? Just that. With Tantra, it's sex, and the climax is wild.
Yes.
The climax is wild, like explosion. Like I always said, if I were to, and this is extreme, like, when I leave this earth, sometimes I'm having sex. If I go out right now, I'm okay with it.
Right?
Like that's how good it feels. Like I feel like my whole, like right. Every cell in my body has exploded. I'm in a million pieces.
Right.
Like,
let me go out having sex. If I'm gonna go out, let me go out having sex.
Right. And then an orgasming. Like then it's like, ooh,
right.
I'm in a new place now. But literally, the foreplay, the sex is just increased. I had to get out of my head.
Yes, exactly.
And it was through breath work. Preparing in advance, because like I think for the longest time I was like, well, this is what sex is. It is just with previous lovers, you know what I mean? Like who are either rushed. I know they're gonna come quick. It's just like I'm here to satisfy you. You're gonna have a great time with me, but it's like
they're just ejaculating in you.
Yeah,
right,
right. And it's like there's sometimes that lack of connection, and so someone said to me like, well, I'm not in a committed relationship, and she was actually sleeping with multiple men. No judgment.
Yeah. And
she's just like, I can only come with one. Mm-hmm. Why? I said, do you like him more? She's like, not even. I think he's just better in bed. But right. She's like, I think the guy that she does like, for some reason she can't come with him.
Yeah, I've heard of that. That happens sometimes.
I'm like, what is blocking? So we like, and she said, she's like, I mean, we do almost everything. I was like, some you ain't doing, because right. If the one you like kind of medium, you're coming on him. Like, what is it? Right. And I'm wondering if there's like a disconnect.
Yeah, so oftentimes there is a disconnect. Yeah. Right? But then also maybe inhibitions, right? Maybe more people are inhibited. Mm-hmm. Is that the right word? Inhibited with someone that they like more because of fear of what they will think about them, fear of judgment. Yeah. And so with someone they don't care about, they can let loose in a different way.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
Yeah, so it could be many different things.
Yeah.
Or, sometimes we think we actually like someone and we really don't. No, like for real, like, because sometimes it could be this person is, maybe you, as a woman, like, let's say I had a bad relationship with my father, right? Yeah. But this guy reminds me of my father, and I'm trying to get my father's love. So here I think I love him.
Right.
But I really don't. There's something else going on that I'm trying to get my father's approval. Mm-hmm. So I think I love him, but that's not what it is.
And that can block a lot. I see that. A lot,
right? Yeah. So there's so many different things at play. And that's why when you work with a tantric therapist together, we can discover what is the blockage.
Yeah.
Right. So the woman, I'm not sure if I told you this last time or I don't know if I did, but I had a woman that I worked with came to me with vaginismus. She was having painful sex, right? Mm-hmm. Married, couldn't have sex with her husband. So as we were doing the work and we were talking and doing a lot of work on her feminine energy and herself and doing tantric massage, we were talking about her mom, and I'd asked her about her mom. And so her mom was very open, mm-hmm. had sex with a lot of people, yeah. Right? Again, not judging, but her mom was like, very open about it.
Yeah.
And she was like, no, my mother wasn't repressing. She talked about sex all the time, had sex with all kinds of people.
Yeah.
Well, she was judging her mom and didn't want to be like her mom. Mm. she felt like her mom was too loose.
Yeah.
So now this is causing her problem with her sexual relationship. And she has this pain. But she didn't even realize that. She was just thinking, nah, like sexually, I'm good. Like my mom talked about it. She was open.
Yeah.
It wasn't like my mom was like a super Christian. It was like it's a sin, you're going to hell. But she didn't realize inside what was going on.
Yeah.
And so that's why it's helpful with me being a tantric therapist. And I say therapist as opposed to tantric practitioner because I have my background in therapy, right? I had a private practice focusing solely on psychotherapy, working with people with depression, anxiety, figuring out where things stem from.
Yeah.
And so now that I got my Tantra certification, I'm still a therapist. You can't take away my master's or my postgraduate degree, right? I'm still a therapist, but I do it differently.
Yeah.
Where I'm incorporating all of that. The womb healing work, the Tantra work, the medicine work that I learned as a medicine woman.
Yeah.
So I'm bringing all of that in, the somatic work. So my sessions now aren't like what it used to be traditionally where we sit down for 50 minutes and talk.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now it's like, okay, we talk. Now let's do the body work.
Yeah.
Let's do the breath work. Let's do the meditating. Let's do the shaking. Let's do the tantric massage. Let's do what you need. Right? And together, for me, I feel like that's one of the best combinations.
What are some examples of some body work we can do?
Wow.
Some examples.
So, let's go back to orgasms too.
Yeah.
Right?
Because
we gotta.
Yeah.
Yes. But the body work does help with orgasms, right? But we can have multiple orgasms. We can have blended orgasms.
Yeah.
Right? Oftentimes people are surprised when they have a clitoral and G-spot orgasm. There's some people that still don't think that the G-spot exists.
It
right?
exists.
It exists.
So good.
Right. But there's a lot of people out there who don't believe that, right?
Yeah.
And there's still a lot of people who don't think women can ejaculate or squirt.
Yeah.
And it's like, for the life of me, how is it that doctors are still saying, there's some doctors that are still saying, not sure if a G-spot exists. Well, you must not have a great sex life.
Right.
Like, who are you with?
Right.
Not all women are being stimulated well enough that they can have an orgasm with the G-spot or that they can squirt.
Yeah.
So then there's also a testament to your lack of abilities. If you're a straight man, and you haven't experienced this with a woman, then you don't know what you're doing.
Just keeping it real.
And if you're a doctor, you're at least 40 years old saying this 50.
Yeah.
So in those 40, 50 years, you've never made a woman ejaculate or you've never found the G-spot, something is wrong with you.
Yeah. That's
right. You need to come find me. So, so there's so many different ways we can have orgasms from breath work. Mm-hmm. I've led breath work and like I've had a whole room of people orgasming. It's great. I love it. I love it. I love what I do. I do.
I love it too.
Right, yes. And so, different types of touch, right? Like the tantric massage. Mm-hmm. You can use Tantra's really big on like the sensory experience and finding different types of touches, because some people like you like that soft kind of light feathery touch. Yeah. Some people like a stronger, harder, firmer touch. Yeah. Some people like pain. That's why they have like those knives, kind of like nails, like the Freddy Krueger nails that you can kind of scratch. I don't particularly care for that, but some people do. Yeah. Right? Some people enjoy the sensation of like a rope going across them or being tied, like the shibari. Yeah. There's so many different types of touch and play that people can experiment with. And so, I've had women in their 40s come to me who said they've never had an orgasm. And then once we do the work, they have orgasms, right? Yeah. And sometimes we have to explore different things. Sometimes women are into kink and they don't know it because they've never tried it. Yeah. Into kink meaning? Yeah. So like various kink stuff like the shibari, but getting tied up, the scratching, the biting, the choking, all kinds of stuff, being dominated, or dominating someone else. So, and that's separate from tantra. That's different from tantra. But that's one of the things that we do is explore. Right? Explore. If traditional ways are not working for you, let's explore what might work for you.
Yeah. So if some of the breath work, what does that look like? So is it just like kind of breathing within and then thinking certain thoughts? Like, how does that work?
We're not thinking.
We're not thinking.
We just feeling.
We're just feeling. Okay. And this is just before sex.
Oh, okay. So you mean like before you have sex with somebody?
Or even like in the shower. You know what's weird is like it's not, this is gonna sound weird. Like sometimes when I get out the shower, it takes longer for me to get ready because I'm like I dry up because obviously I'm in the shower, I'm cleaning and myself, and then this is like, all right, now down there needs to it takes a while just to get it nice and moist.
Yeah, because the water's drying too.
It is.
Right? And what's in the water? Like,
So, there's a whole other thing because you're cleaning yourself. And so it's like, it takes me a while to get wet again. Sometimes I'll try to shower and if I know I'm getting down to get down, I'll shower a little bit more in advance because I need my body to just get back to like being naturally wet and then open myself to it.
Yeah.
But sometimes I want to be like out the shower and then jump on it because I'm all fresh and stuff, right? So it's like, you can do breath work in the shower.
You can, yeah. So I do want to say a couple things on that. I know oftentimes for us women, we do like to like take a shower and be fresh, but sometimes you just want to be sweaty and in the moment.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's okay.
And it's true.
And a little bit of smell is natural. Like we know this.
So
we don't have to be like perfectly without any type of scent or anything like that because we naturally have pheromones.
Yeah.
And that makes us more attracting to the other person. Right? So oftentimes, and I only bring that up to say because there's a lot of people who are like, I can't have sex unless I take a shower first. And so, that in of itself may not be as healthy. And it's okay because it's not going to cause problems. If you feel like you want to have sex, you want to take a shower first, take a shower first. But then, like you said, you might take longer to get ready because you're drier down there. But sometimes being able to be in the moment, going with that flow and just letting yourself go is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
But yes, to answer your question, you could do breath work in the shower.
Okay.
Or when you get out the shower, do breath work with your partner. So when one breathes in, you can sit in the yabayun position where you're kind of like on top of each other.
Yeah.
Right? And when one person breathes in, the other person breathes out. So you're breathing in each other's air. Make sure you brush your teeth. Because if you got to take a shower, you're going to brush your teeth, right?
Let's hope so. Because you don't want no hot breath all over your face. It messes the whole mood up.
Right. You're like, oh, he's fine. But breathing in each other's ear. And then as you're breathing, as you breathe in, imagine the person breathing in, that air going up the back of their chakras, coming out and going down as you exhale, going down the front of the person's chakras, and you're forming the circle, this figure 8, right?
Yeah.
So one person is breathing in, the other it's going down, and then going down, and it's going up. You're creating the circle 8, which is forming a connection. So you're breathing together at that same rhythm.
Yeah.
Then when you're breathing at the same rhythm, your heart starts to beat at the same rhythm as well. And so you're getting more and more connected to each other. So that's something you can do.
That leads more to orgasming, multiple orgasms.
Yeah, and as you're doing that, you're looking into each other's eyes.
How do you know if you had a multiple orgasm? Just keep coming.
Like your entire body. So everybody's kind of different, right?
Yeah.
So there's different levels of orgasms.
Yeah.
Right? And sometimes people don't know, right? But twitching, you can have like this, right?
Yeah.
To full body, like where it's like
That'd be me.
Like, or sometimes, so you can have orgasms without ejaculating.
Yeah.
Men and women can have orgasms without ejaculating or with ejaculating, and both can ejaculate and not have orgasms. Right? So
is that just coming?
So different people have different definitions of coming, right? Some people say coming is the actual ejaculation coming out.
Right.
Some people use coming as orgasming.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Did we have this conversation?
Something like that. Because I felt like, I think it's easier to come than have an orgasm. Because for me, it's just like, if someone getting fingered or something like that, right? And then it's like, oh, okay,
yeah,
stop.
Right.
I'm good. But an orgasm for me, it's that like I'm about to fall off the bed, and then you got another 5 minutes with me because I'm exhausted.
Right. Really, you're exhausted because normally orgasm gives you more energy.
Not me.
Really,
I will come so hard, and it's like you got about maybe 5-10 minutes max before I'm like.
Even like a baby.
Yeah, like it depends on how hard I come. If I have a harder, I don't have much time.
Yeah.
So, bro, you better speed this up because it's like I imagine like when a man has a big orgasm, it's just like he goes, I go down.
Yeah,
I go down. It's and then it takes like maybe no, because then I'm done. Like I don't want to have sex anymore once I have an orgasm.
Right. Really.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so interesting. Really.
Yeah, I will come, and then it's like.
So yeah, I could see that. Like a lot of times it's like, okay, don't touch me. Like, and I've done that too, right? Because it gets so sensitive.
Yes.
It does. It gets so sensitive. But then when you allow yourself to keep going, it could even be better. Like better. You can have even more. Like
just keep going.
Multiple keep going. But you gotta it's hard
out.
if you fall asleep.
I know.
But typically for men in particular, when men and women generally, when you have orgasms, you're not tired. Like you're with a lot of energy. Now, when you ejaculate, you do lose energy, right? Okay. For men specifically.
Yeah.
And that's why when men are training in sport, like boxing, or they have a big, game, football, the coach says don't have sex for the week. Right, so they can retain that energy.
Yeah.
And so it's not because they're having orgasms, it's because they're ejaculating. So you're losing your semen. So men who work with Tantra, who are really serious and going deep, they do semen retention.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But now for women, we're not losing that energy.
Yeah.
And so typically for women, again, everybody's different. So, and there's no one, like if you're different, that means something wrong. It's not. Everybody's just different.
Right.
But typically, again, women, we can ejaculate and we can have orgasm and still have energy. But I guess it depends on the mood. If you're like, you're laying down in bed, I can see that you're kind of like, okay, I can go to sleep now, So, it all makes sense. Yeah. It all makes sense. So, there's no exact science to this. Yeah. Even though Tantra is supposed to be, is a science, there really is, because every body is different.
Yeah. Yeah.
And even within one sexual encounter is going to be different every time.
That's true.
Depending on where you're at, where your partner's at.
Yeah.
Your mind space, your mindset, like so many different things.
Yeah. And definitely when you told me like clear your head, like do not overthink this, enjoy it. I'm gonna see if I can keep going, because once I release and I ejaculate, about 10 minutes max.
Right.
So I'm curious what would happen if I hit the 11-minute. Like, am I ready to go again?
Right. Well, I'd love to hear. Let me know.
Because I just get so tired. I'm like, because then it's like I need you to just, and it's crazy because when I orgasm, you can do whatever you want to me.
Right.
Because I'm so like, just. I've exploded, and it's just like you can go as hard as you want. I'm not even tight. Like it's just like all over. But you got 10 minutes,
right?
You got 10 minutes because I feel like
explosive orgasms, explosive ejaculations.
Yeah, it's because I feel free.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
It feels very free. So it's like I'm going up a hill, and it's like I made it to the top, and it's like
fireworks coming out.
Yeah.
Woo. I love it. I love it. Yes.
And there are ways that people like. I think I actually do people ejaculate in their sleep?
Oh yeah,
all the time. It's just like
men and women. You hear more about it with men happening, right? The wet dreams.
Yeah.
So a lot of times, especially men who do the semen retention, that can happen as well. Yeah. So and just nothing's wrong with that. It happens. Body response, letting go. Man, I've had dreams I'm waking up horny, like, wet, and I'm like, ooh.
I must have had a good night.
Yes.
Myself. And
let's make this dream come true. I wish this was a premonition. I was about to happen tonight or tomorrow night.
Topics, masturbation.
Yes.
Is there abuse of it? So I know, like, I had a friend of mine, she said she don't use toys no more because she felt like toys, like her vagina, she said her vagina got numb and she didn't enjoy it anymore.
Yeah.
And then she's like, I don't like getting my fingers wet with myself. So it's just like, but then there's so much shame that comes with masturbation. But like, I think when it comes to masturbation, it's just like, I think it's healthy.
Yeah.
I think it's healthy.
I do too. So I'm going to bring up two different things for men and women, right? It is healthy. And, but if you're masturbating, it's more important to use your hands than toys.
Yeah.
You're forming a connection with yourself. And I would say to the person who, doesn't like getting their fingers wet or doesn't like that feeling, really working through, where's that shame coming from? Where's this coming from? Because this is your body.
Yeah.
And I even tell women, taste yourself.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, but no, you got a man going down there tasting. You should know what you taste like. Yeah. Right? You want to know if he's tasting something salty, something fishy, something sweet. Like,
you'd be surprised how good you taste.
Right.
You'd be surprised.
I mean, yeah, so it's about letting go of these things, right? Now, I've also heard women say when they use, the toys, they start to become numb. But then it's like, how often are you using the toys? Right? Look, I love my rose and I love my magic wand, but I'm not using it all the time.
Yeah.
So when I do use it every once in a while, like, it's great.
Yeah.
There's sometimes I want that big explosive ejaculation.
Yeah.
I'm taking my magic wand or my rose. Right?
Yeah.
Other times I want to connect to my body and I'm like, doing a whole massaging the breast, everything down here. And then I'm touching and I'm playing with myself and I'm connecting to myself.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of doing a mixture. Right? That's important. Now for men, I also think it's okay for masturbating, but there's men who overdo it. So the same way, we can both overdo it, right?
Yeah.
Who overdo it and maybe they're masturbating 3, 4, 5 times a day. And so one of the things that I found, it's leading to more men having premature ejaculation.
Yeah.
Because they're masturbating and they're coming really quickly, right? Over time, they're watching porn or looking at this magazine or whatever, come 2-3 minutes later, they're coming.
Yeah.
Right? And so they're conditioning their bodies. Now, there's some who can masturbate for an hour. I don't know how common that is because you're not going to be masturbating for an hour, but some people might. Will y'all women masturbate for an hour?
What, you said woman?
No, man.
I don't see that.
Okay, right. Thank you. Thank you. So a man is not going to masturbate for an hour long, right?
Yeah.
He's going to masturbate and try to get off, right?
Right.
It's going to be quick. So you're training yourself to come quickly.
Yeah.
And that's conditioning yourself that premature ejaculation. I've had so many men in their 30s start having premature ejaculation because they're over masturbating.
It's I think sometimes too, it's like, first of all, how much time you got to be coming like 3-4 times a day. Like, I've always wondered, like, when I hear stories about sometimes men can literally jerk off 3-4 times a day, I'm like, you don't get tired? Like, what are you doing at work? Like, what is going on? But I can't see that because then it's just like you're making your body basically say 3 to 5 minutes. And then my friend with the toy, she said she got numb.
Yeah.
Like, she said, I don't feel nothing. So she doesn't use toys. She doesn't like her fingers. I don't know. She likes sex like that. Now think about it. I think that's the only way she'll even. I don't think she enjoys sex that much. I kind of hope she's watching, but I hope she. Man, I didn't say her name.
You didn't say her name.
Okay, so yeah, so it's not my friend. Someone in my DMs. There we go.
Too late.
But now it makes sense because it's like I think masturbation for me. I grew up in a Catholic household.
Yeah,
this is shameful. You don't touch yourself. You don't do
exactly.
this. You don't do that. And very Catholic Christianist. But then it's like when I got older, it wasn't like this shameful thing. Like, to me, it's a release. Particularly, I would mainly only masturbate if I was stressed.
Right.
Like, I didn't even associate masturbation with pre-sex.
Right.
It was if I'm stressed out,
right.
I can freak you on the phone with, you, or something else, it would be that's the only way. But then, is it wrong to masturbate before? As long as you don't come.
No, you could come too if you want to, if you masturbate before. There's no right or wrong.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so masturbation itself is good. You can even mutual masturbate. Right? Both of y'all are right there next to each other, masturbating. He's masturbating, you masturbating. That's cool too, right?
Yeah, that is cool. But some I don't want to be interrupted. I'm like, okay, oh man, here. I want you to watch me.
Man, let me tell you, I had an ex, the same tantra guy. It was like this period, we weren't having sex. I don't know, he was going through stuff, and I was like, man, all right, fuck it. I'm just gonna masturbate. So I'm in the bed beside him, and I just start masturbating. Next thing you know, he's like, ooh, and then he's on top of me. I'm like, I thought you wanted to go to sleep. You've been wanting to go to sleep. I'm gonna start taking care of myself.
Right? They always want to climb on top. Like, oh, well, now it's time. I'm like,
right? Can you let me take care of myself? Go back to sleep. Nah, but I did let him. Like, yeah, come on. We're gonna have a good time. Wait till I finish, and then we round 2.
Well, actually, I do like that though. It's just like, round 2. See, once you reach those multiple orgasms, I see where you go with this.
But in general, I don't think masturbation is wrong. I think it's a great thing. I think it's a healthy thing.
Yeah.
Now, the person that went into your DMs that made the comment, right?
Yeah.
Maybe there's some guilt as well, and maybe that's why it's going numb. It may not. So if she's not if she's not masturbating so many times, maybe there's something else going on. Yeah. If she only masturbates once a month, it might be something else. But if she was masturbating every day, which I don't think so. Yeah. But if she's masturbating like 3-4 times a week, 5 times a week, that could be a part of why it's going numb. Like, And so I definitely would recommend, like, for this person doing some yoni steaming, doing some work, doing some yoni breathing. She could hit me up if she wants.
Yeah.
But we can get at the root and like work through that so that she can become comfortable with her hands, with her fingers.
Yeah. Touching
herself, become comfortable with potentially reintroducing toys or not.
Right.
Yeah. But just because she's numb now, not feeling anything, doesn't mean she's doomed to stay that way.
Gotcha.
We can rewire her body, her clitoris, to feel pleasure again.
I will admit that I was sexually assaulted when I was a little girl. Mm-hmm. And it took probably into my adulthood for me to just learn to like let go, because I was naturally so tight. Like, I didn't enjoy sex when I was younger at all.
Right.
And because I felt like I had to brace myself every time, which is why I wasn't loose in high school, because I was so scared of how this is going to feel. I associated sex with pain.
Right.
So if a dude went down on me, I had to be really into him.
Right.
If I was going to give it up. Because I was so scared that it was going to hurt. Like, as soon as I felt the penis touching it, I felt myself tense up so much, and I was just like, a penis was scary to me.
Yeah.
I'd rather give you head than let you go in, because this is like, it's just going to be painful.
Right.
And it took some time and a lot of like different type of therapy to learn to let go of what sex meant to me.
Right.
And then, meeting the right partner, or even if I'd like slipped up with a one night stand or something like that, whatever. It's just, I felt very, what's the word? I get emotional and I think about this sometimes, because it took so long for me not to associate pain with sex.
Right.
Because I even went to the doctors. It's like, why? Like, it's like I literally just tighten up, and it takes
like the vaginismus. Yeah.
Yeah, it would take so long. But then when I would finally get into it, and almost prefer to with a smaller penis, because then I'm like, it won't hurt as much.
Right.
Until you get a smaller penis and you're like, I don't even feel this thing. But anyway, it happens. But it took so long for me to enjoy it, and it's crazy because it was like, I can't. Like I said, it's hard for me to even talk about it because it took for a long time.
It does, and as you talk about that, like even for me, before, I remember when I first started having sex, it was so painful.
Yeah,
so painful, and I would go to the doctor, and all they would say, "Well, try different positions, take this pain medicine." Like, nothing of useful, right? Nothing helpful.
Yeah.
At all. So it's like, what's the point of having a gynecologist when they can't even really help you? What you're going through. So, and we talked a lot about doing the work, right?
Yeah.
And so honestly, getting working through sexual assault or sexual trauma is working, doing that work with yourself, knowing that you are worthy,
Yeah.
that, doing that inner child work as well, that you will protect yourself. You can protect yourself. And just kind of relearning, okay, relearning about what sex is.
Yeah.
And really honestly, like what you said, just kind of um, waiting until you feel safe with your partner.
Yeah.
Trusting yourself, learning to trust yourself and what you need and what you feel.
Yeah.
Right. And then also a big part of it is doing the work with a therapist or a sex therapist or a tantric therapist, right? To kind of help guide you with what's going on,
Right.
what you're feeling, because for each person is going to be different.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of people that might hold on to the shame and the guilt, or, feeling like it's their fault. And oftentimes when people are sexually assaulted, they enjoy it, right? And then they feel guilty because they enjoyed it.
Right.
Well, even though you're not asking for this and you didn't give permission, it's a sexual thing, and sometimes you can't necessarily help but feel the pleasure.
Yeah.
And so then you have you're like, oh my God, did I make this happen? Did I attract this person? So working through those feelings of guilt.
Yeah.
You got to work through that.
Yeah.
Right? Because sometimes it's like a machine.
Yeah.
Somebody's coming and touching you and you get wet and you feel pleasure, whether you want to or not. So that's a reality. And so working through all of that, working through keeping yourself safe and setting boundaries.
Yeah.
Making sure that you, and a lot of the tantric work, when we're working on the chakras and the throat chakra, being able to say no or being able to say yes, right, to what you want and saying no. So I do a lot of that, and that's important, making sure that you're setting your boundaries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I sell these Yoni Detox pearls and of course the Yoni Steams on my website. I had a lady, she said the same thing. So she wanted to do the Yoni Detox pearl because she felt like she needed to get this person out of her system. She went on a date, from apps, met the guy, and he raped her.
Oh no.
But she orgasmed.
Right.
So she said, there's no one that's going to believe that he did this because I orgasmed. And then she was just like, I'm very confused.
Yeah.
And I was just like, wow, your body may have orgasmed to protect you, right?
But it's not even to protect you, right? Your body, because it feels.
Yeah.
So whether you want to or not, it, like I said, it's almost like a machine, right? And it's not, but it's almost like where it's like, this is happening, so you're feeling pleasure. Right. And you orgasm. And that's why there's so much guilt around that. And there's confusion.
Yeah.
Like she felt confused.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. That's a natural thing that happens.
That's good to know.
Yeah. Even men get raped too, right? They get sexually assaulted. And it's worse in the sense of worse. It's harder on men because they're like, oh shit, I got hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they didn't want to. They didn't like this person, but they got hard, right? So then they're like, well, what the hell, right?
Yeah.
So,
and it's hard to quote unquote prove.
Right. Yeah. You were hard, right? So it's harder in that sense, which is crazy. But and for women, some might get wet, some might not get wet. And then it's more painful. You're like bleeding and different things, and others not. So it's also working through that, whatever emotions you're feeling, working through any guilt you might be feeling, any confusion, and knowing that however you responded, however your body responded is natural. Yeah. And absolutely. It doesn't mean you wanted this. It doesn't mean that it's okay. Yeah. And even if you orgasm, you can still file a police report. Yeah. Yeah. You still owe it to yourself to take this further.
Yeah, and defend yourself.
Yeah.
It's a tough topic. It is. Because it's really letting go. And I agree. It takes time. And then when it reoccurs and that fear reoccurs, for me, I bring myself back. Remind the inner child that you're safe.
Mm-hmm. And so oftentimes it's so unfortunate and it's so sad, but when somebody's been salted once, it happens more often to that
Mm.
same person. It's almost like because it's like that energetic thing.
Yeah.
You know, when it happens, that you become more prone for it to happen to you again over and over.
Yeah.
Right? So it is also doing that work to cleanse that energy.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can do that through Yoni steaming, breath work,
Mm-hmm.
Tantra.
Sage, taking baths, herbal
Yeah.
bath.
Yeah. Especially the herbal bath. The herbal baths, they do go a long way.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
do go a long way.
Nice spiritual baths. Even seeing someone to do cleansing.
Yeah.
You know, I do a spiritual shamanic cleanse with an egg. You know, there's so many different things that you can do. You know, you can do a garlic cleanse.
Yeah.
I don't really tell too many people because you got to put the garlic up there and it's like 7 days. And then people be like, it got lost up there, but you got to use a little, you know, like kind of, what do you call it? Like a gauze.
Yeah.
You know, so you can put it in and you can easily pull it out. Because some people are like, I can't get it up and get it out. So, you
That's why I like the Yoni Detox pearls, because it has a little string you can pull it. I actually have a pearl in me. I have 2 in me right now.
Ooh.
Yes. So I need to cleanse my vajayjay, because I know I have a cycle coming up, and yeah.
All right.
I needed to, yeah, it's the whole thing. But no, like I do agree that there's many ways that you can heal spiritually, physically. But it does start with the head.
It does, yeah, it does. And so I definitely recommend doing therapy.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's important, you know?
Yeah.
Doing therapy for that, whether you're a man or a woman. And a lot of men don't admit it, right? Because they're like, again, it's harder because it's like, oh, but I got hard, you know, nobody's gonna believe me. And then you have all this stuff. So as men and women, you both have to like do the healing, you know, report it when it happens if you can. Sometimes you're young and it, you know, you weren't able to, right?
Yeah.
Or you might have told somebody but they didn't believe you, or the person was like, if you tell somebody I'll kill your mom, or they won't believe, you know, they get in your head. So then you think you can't tell anyone, right?
Yeah.
So there's so many things. But as an adult, we can then start to say, okay, let me do the work.
Yeah.
To release that. Let me do the physical cleansing. Let me do the energetic cleansing.
Yeah.
You know, let me do the healing.
Yeah.
That I need. So
when it comes to like affirmations, sometimes people feel like, and I felt like that too, like like imposter syndrome. Like I'll be saying things, I don't even believe it. But my mom once also said, she goes, well, in the Bible it says all you need is a mustard seed. But is that, don't you, like, do you need more than that? It's like a part of the work, because it's like, if I think a lot of times I used to tell myself before I got pregnant, I can carry, because then after 3 miscarriages, in the back of my mind, I'm like, girl, this is not, you're not going to see past week 8. You're not going to see, it's fear that crippled me.
Yes.
And so I would say, when I'm Yoni steaming, I can carry full term. I can carry baby. I can get pregnant. I am healthy. My body is healthy. But I felt like it was imposter syndrome.
Yes.
Because I'm like, am I faking this? Am I just saying it? But I thought, well, mustard seed, I have faith in something, because I ain't sitting on this hot pot for nothing.
Right.
But like, would that mess something up if it's in your back of your brain and it's like fearful and it's doubtful, like this ain't gonna happen? Like if I'm like, I need $250,000 by the end of the year, I can repeat it, but if in the back of my mind it's like, it ain't gonna happen. And it's like imposter syndrome.
Yeah, so you know, that's so interesting because okay, so I have 2 different takes on this. And as I talk it out, I'll say what I'll come to what I believe. But there are people who say, if you just say the words but you don't believe it and you don't feel it, it's not going to happen. Right? But then you have people who say the opposite.
Right.
So one of the things, when I was in Brazil, I took a postgraduate degree in transpersonal psychology. And one of my professors, he would say, basically, fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
Right? So he's like, if you see someone, like, as an example, a woman who has the feminine qualities that you want, watch her. Begin to copy her and do it. And then you'll start to live that. Right?
Right.
So you have both of those theories. Now, what do I believe? Something in the middle, right? Okay. So what I do is, when I don't necessarily believe something and I'm saying affirmations, I think of something that feels good. And then when I'm saying that affirmation, I bring that feeling to me, because now I'm getting the feeling, right? So for example, if you want to make $1 million next year, what does it feel like to be a millionaire? right? So you start to incorporate that feeling of being a millionaire, even if you're not, that right now,
Right.
or you don't believe you can do it. You're feeling it.
Yeah.
So in a sense, you're doing the affirmations, you're feeling it, and you're tricking mind, your body, your soul to feeling and hearing this as if you have it.
Yeah.
So that's my take. So does that make sense? So
it does.
You do the affirmations and you bring in the emotions and the feelings as if you have this, right?
Yeah.
So you connect it together. That's a psychological thing.
Yeah.
Right? Just like conditioning. Pavlov's dog, right? In traditional psychology, in psychology, there was an experiment that Pavlov did. Every time, he would ring a bell and then give the dog some food or whatever, and the dog would start salivating. And so he started to associate the bell with food. So then every time he rang the doorbell, the dog would salivate because he knew he would get food.
Right.
Right? So that's conditioning. So that's the same thing we're doing with our bodies. Right? So you want to have a baby. What does it feel like having a baby? Feel that joy as you're saying the affirmations and you're sitting on the Yoni Steam.
Yeah.
That makes it even more powerful.
Yeah. And even off of it, you repeat it. This is the work.
Mm-hmm.
This is the day to day. This is like that feeling. Because I would call my older sister all the time when I'm like some business issue, and she's always says exactly what I need to do, and I'm like, all right, I'm on it. 2 days, and then 3 weeks later, I'm like, I'm gonna be poor forever, and she's like, have you been repeating what I told you? I was like, I mean, 3 weeks ago, yeah.
Right.
It's just that's why you're still here.
Uh-huh.
This is why you're still here. Even like when the podcast deleted, I was like, I am done. Right. I am absolutely done. I had a complete meltdown. Like
I can imagine. That's a lot of work.
So much work.
Yeah.
And then she's like, maybe you missed something. I was like, it couldn't just be one of something I missed. Why all of them have to get deleted? She's like, you need to start. Remember how you felt when you was getting ready to do it? Mm-hmm. She goes, get excited about that again. I'm like, they don't understand. She goes, no. Get excited again. Do it again. What is going to happen? It's going to happen.
Right.
And she's like, what's the worst? You have to find new people. Mm-hmm. You have to ask people to come back. She's like, there's probably more to come. Right. And it's true.
It's true.
And it's true. And it is like, but feeling defeated is hard. I'm like, I know how hard feeling defeated is. I know what it's like to see a positive pregnancy. I know what it's like to not get the job offer.
Yes.
I know what it's like to feel like you're failing in life and grieving. Mm-hmm. I get that. But the consistency and putting in the work in yourself is how we move forward.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've been bad at doing that myself. The struggle is real. The struggle is real. And so, even as we're having this talk, I'm taking it day by day.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
To make sure I'm doing the work.
Yeah.
And so I'm waking up. Like this morning, I woke up at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
And I was meditating and I was giving to my ancestors, sitting at the altar, So it's not going to be every morning that I could do that at 6 a.m. But, I'm doing what I can and going to that altar when I can on those days, if I'm traveling.
And commit to that.
Yeah.
I can't stand when the ancestors won't leave me alone. That sounds bad. For whatever reason, for like 4 to 6 months this year, they were like, 3 a.m. I'm like, I don't understand. Like, I don't hardly sleep as it is. I would wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning every single day. I took pills to sleep. I mean, multiple pills. Like, I was like, I need to be in a coma to sleep.
Yes.
And no, 3 a.m. And I knew what it was. Yes. And I'm like, look, why can't I sleep past 3 a.m.? Mm-hmm. And then it was that block of time, the 3 to 5. And I learned, like, that's that fourth watch. That's that. You're supposed to meditate, you're supposed to pray. I'm like, yo, but I'm tired. But I'm not going back to sleep till like 6. Like, I'm up. And I gave in.
Yeah.
I gave in. I said, I don't know why I'm going through this. And I was having extreme health issues plus a toddler. And I'm like, I'm struggling in life. But I gave in and I said, I don't know how to pray for an hour or however long. So I would just do it. I submitted to what they wanted. And I'm like, I think I was reading, like, that's those witching hours and you're supposed to pray for that time. I'm like, pray for 2 hours. I can barely pray for 5 minutes.
Right.
I'm like, and sometimes when I was rejecting it, I'd be on my phone for literally 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
And then when I was rejecting it, I was like, fine, I wouldn't get on my phone. And as soon as I was done meditating, praying, I'd go back to sleep.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, this what y'all wanted?
Right.
And I learned a lot because I was going through a lot emotionally, physically, health-wise, mentally. It was so much. And then when I committed to that work, committed to listening to the ancestors, committed to listening to the universe, committed to listening to God and praying to God of what I needed to do, I got answers. And it was not to quit. It was invest in yourself. It was put money into this. It was reach out to people. It was there's something that's coming from 2024. And now I don't know about everybody else. 2024 was wild as hell, and I did not like 2024. Not.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it got wilder in November.
Right. I was like, so you're just not gonna calm down 2024.
Right.
But I think the transformation that's gonna go into 2025, it's the change.
Yes.
It's what we see, but it's because of the work.
Yes, exactly.
That's what the work is. And I tell people, they're like, this is vague. I'm like, it's not that vague.
It is not. Because you know what? Because they know what the work is.
Yeah.
They know what the work is.
Yeah.
It's just doing it.
Yeah.
And trusting that you know.
Yeah.
Right? Once you kind of, surrendered, did your health get better? Did you?
Actually, it did.
Mm-hmm.
It did. Because I've talked about this on different platforms, whatever. Like I have a seizure disorder.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even commit to that seizure disorder. It is just currently to get my hormones together.
Right.
And then it is not epilepsy.
Right.
But it was so repetitive, like to the point where anyone who's had seizures knows that the recovery time can take up to a week.
Yeah.
And then this was something that I was like, oh, I didn't want to be put on medication. The medication made me tired.
Mm-hmm.
And if I took more medication to sleep, I'd be drawn all day. I have things to do. So I'm like, why is my body going through this? I've never had seizures before in my life. And all of a sudden, like, I think I had one when I was pregnant. And then post-birth, it's like, what is this?
Yeah.
And why is my body so sore? I had to learn the importance of self-care. Yeah. And I'm big on self-care, beyond steaming, beyond diet, beyond this. But I was mentally beating myself up.
Right.
Like, I'm not good at this. I'm not good at that. I need to go back to this. I need to go back because I quit my job. And I was like, I need to go back because this is not the life I want. But you're provided for. Why would you go back to chaos that you felt? Like, you're not going to feel better.
Right.
But I was mentally not there. So when I was waking up at 3 a.m. every day, and I finally started praying and committing and listening to what the universe was telling me, the seizures, they stopped.
Yeah.
They stopped. I started to physically feel better because of the soreness in my body. Sometimes I could barely walk, out of breath. And I was moving more, and I was liking moving more, finding out what exercises work. Because like, I am one of those girls that go into gym and just lifting all heavy weights. I said, I need to find something I can commit to and then change along the way. And I did. And I was like, okay, I'm feeding myself better, feeding my kid better. I'm like, did I snap many times? Yes. But
part of the process.
I did physically feel better. Like, and I remember I talked to my neurologist, goes, okay, you don't have to go all the way up to a certain dosage. As long as you take care of yourself. But that's a commitment. Yeah. And whenever I didn't commit, boom, there's another seizure. Boom, there's a heavy period. Boom, it's like I had to commit. And then if I woke up at 3 a.m, even later on, even like a month ago, I was like, I'm waking up in the middle of the night again. I'm like, okay, I need to rebalance. This something I'm not paying attention to. Yeah. And then give in to that, because they ain't gonna leave you alone.
They're not, right? And that's why I asked that, right? And it's so funny because even just today, I was having a conversation with a friend who, we were just in conversation, and she's like, when you don't listen, that's when you get sick. That's when stuff happens. Yeah. And I said to her, it's so true, because that's what happened to me. Yeah. And then once I started listening and committing, and this is what y'all want, okay, I'm gonna do it. Get better.
Get better. So I'm glad we clarify that for folks, because I can't just tell you like how many times like I don't know how to do the work. I write affirmations and I don't believe it. And it's just like there's like I said, that middle space.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you broke down how to kind of connect the two.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. Yay. Well, thank you so much for all your wisdom.
You're welcome. All right, so I have to say something.
Mm-hmm.
If my friend watches this show that I spoke to today, so she told me I need to start using doctor in front of my name.
Please do. Please do.
So
you earned it.
I know, right? And she's like, why don't you? So, okay, let me tell you this thing first, right? Okay. So this is also about doing the work on ourselves, right?
Yeah.
And the healing work. And this was, I think I was going to say this at some point and I forgot. But we just had a full moon in Gemini, right?
Yes.
And so the full moon was last night. And I wanted to do a full moon ceremony last night, but I was so tired. I was like, you know what? I'm going to just respect and honor my body and go to sleep. And I went to sleep at 8:30 p.m. last night. But I woke up this morning because you still have the energy of the full moon, 3 days, you know, before and after. And so this morning I was like, okay, let me do my full moon ritual. And I did my full moon ritual, and like usually for the full moon, I release what I want to let go of. And one of the things, so I wrote down the things I want to let go of, and that's me speaking more. Yeah. Right? Having that confidence. Because when I do speak, like I'm great. Like people will never know how like I'm like, oh my God, this is so hard for me. I can't do this, you know? And I gotta fight mentally, prepare myself mentally to do this, right? Mm-hmm. And so I wrote that down and I'm like, okay, so that's coming from imposter syndrome. Well, we talked about that earlier, right? Yeah. And I'm like, I know, I've studied a lot of different things. So I wrote that down to let go of, right? An hour later, so I was meditating and doing my ritual from 6 to 8. Yeah. An hour later, my friend calls. And she's like, well, she texts me. She calls, but I didn't answer because I was in the shower. Mm-hmm. Then she texts, why aren't you using Dr. Prandhara Prem? And so then I called her back and I'm like, well, because I have my doctor in divinity. Yeah. But I'm working mostly with Tantra and plant medicine. So I didn't feel like I should use it. You know, because it's, you know, it's in a different area. Like I'm an ordained minister and doctor of divinity. And she said, doctor comes from the word docere, which means teach. You teach. Yeah. You are a doctor. Yeah. Yeah. You have a lot of, you have a lot of doctors who don't do half of the healing work that you do. Yeah. And you earned it. And you earned it. And so she was like, I feel like, you know, I'm giving all these excuses. And she goes, I feel it's imposter syndrome. And I'm like, Lord, ancestors, how y'all be working so quickly? How y'all be working? Because literally I was sitting down talking to my ancestors and, you know, like what I'm letting go. And I'm like, what I need to do? And she messaged. Call me. See, they always know. They always know. So then I'm like, okay. And then, of course, we do this and I don't introduce myself as doctor. Yes. But I'm like, okay, I got to get used to it. And that's part of the work too, right? Like we were talking about. So allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Dr. Prandhara Prem. And I want to thank Dr. Prandhara Prem for joining us today. First of all, it makes me feel extra certified because I like having doctors on. Like, I don't know. I feel good. But again, you've earned it and you're so wise. And thank you. I love your lives. I always jump in as soon as I can because it's like, what did you talk about this time? And then it's, but I like to, on your lives, is like you talk about other topics. Like one was like how to communicate with your spouse, how to communicate without over being emotional and things like that. And it's, you educate a lot. Thank Communication, healing, balance, all that good stuff. Oh, thank you. Thank you. And thank you so much for joining me today. She's a part of the hood. Yes. Welcome to the ghetto hood. The ghetto. Womanhood is ghetto. Womanhood is ghetto. Why do I keep wanting to say ghetto hood? Well, ghetto hood. Potato, potatoes, whatever. It is an honor to be a part of Womanhood. It's ghetto.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
And do not forget to subscribe. And those of you who want to make sure you reach out to the doctor here, her information is right at the bottom. You can reach out to her website, IG,
TikTok,
TikTok,
Facebook,
TikTok.
Facebook.
Yeah, and definitely on Facebook. All her information's on the bottom. And if any of you want to try out my Yoni Steams, you go on the website. Make sure you I'll put the discount code also at the bottom because, of course, I can't remember nothing. And let me know what you thought about our interview. Connect with the doctor right here, right? And thank y'all again for subscribing and watching. Till next time.